Hi everyone, I'm Sean, and I just noticed I'm wearing the same shirt as my last booktube video, and that is because I'm shooting them back to back. Anyway, today I am going to be reviewing Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. So, what to say? I tried initially to read Game of Thrones, the first book, and I couldn't get into it. I just felt there were too many characters thrown at readers, and I found it very overwhelming. After that, I watched the series, and I came to really like the series. I actually left off on watching the series, I guess the final episode on the season before the final one. So it's where I left off. Daenerys was finally sailing to Westeros with her army and her dragons, and I stopped watching the series. Why, I don't really know. I just kind of lost interest. About that same time, the final season was coming out, and I heard how many people were just not liking the way it was ending. And when the final episode just got so many negative reviews, I just kind of felt, I think I just want to stop watching the series where I'm at and basically finish the series in my own mind, just end it the way I think it should end. So after watching the series, I went back and I read A Game of Thrones, and I loved it because I knew who the characters were, so I could follow the plot more, and I was just really impressed with the world George R.R. Martin created. Watching this show, you think it was done by a whole team of people coming up with this whole series, but it really all came from the fertile mind of George R.R. Martin. One guy thought of all of this series, and I think that's a tremendous accomplishment. So I really liked A Game of Thrones, and I was really impressed by it, and I thought it was a masterpiece. The one negative I would have said about it was I thought he used too many italics. Personally, I think he may have been trying to imitate Stephen King's writing, because Stephen King uses italics a lot as well, and they use them in largely the same ways. So that is kind of my feeling, is he was trying to imitate Stephen King's writing style in some way, especially with the italics. I did not like that. I find it annoying. I find it hard on the eyes reading italics, and I find it very distracting because your eyes are always drawn to, whenever there's italics, your eyes are drawn to it, and that is distracting. So personally, I would wish he used fewer italics. That is also an issue in Clash of Kings. He uses a lot of italics, and it really began to irk me, almost to the point where I wanted to give up, but not really, because I do like and appreciate the world George R.R. Martin has created. And yeah, I just wish he would not use so many italics. Initially, I was leaning toward docking the book a star for that, but I don't think I'm going to, because this still is a personal preference, and I don't know, I just don't really want to dock it a star just for that. But if I could make it clear, this is an issue with me. I do think he overuses italics, and I do think personally that takes away some of my enjoyment of reading his books. The only other thing I could really say about the book ultimately was I liked at first how it started with, I don't even forget his name, is it Davos, who is the character who's basically Stannis' number 2 guy. He's the onion pirate, or whatever they call it, the onion knight. That's what he goes by. I liked that Martin started with that because it was a fresh perspective, and that is really what I wish this book would have had more of, is new perspectives, because I was just frankly getting tired of reading about Starks, Arya, and Sansa, and the mother whose name is it Caitlin? Caitlin? I don't know. And then there's Bran, and then there's Jon Snow. I just kind of got tired of it because there's 5 Stark characters, basically. And I wish, personally, that Martin would have fleshed out his world more. I would like to see more what else is going on in Westeros. So for this book, I thought especially it would have been nice to see more of Stannis' perspective, to meet more people who are related with his storyline, rather than sticking to the Starks. I wish we could have seen more from Stannis' perspective and just occasionally checked in with the other characters from the Starks. That would have kept the book fresh to me, and I think that's important because Game of Thrones is like 1,000 pages, and here again is just about 969 pages. So really, you're 2,000 words into this book series. I would like something new, something fresh. And so that's what I wish Martin would also do, is just show more of Westeros. Besides the Lannisters versus the Starks, show us Stannis, show us his storyline, show us characters related to him. Because there's this whole battle that's about to take place for King's Landing, the capital, and the only character you get a perspective on it from is Davos. And I think, I may be wrong, but I think in the entire book there are 2 chapters with Davos. Maybe 3, I don't know. I think there's 2 though. So to me that's kind of a disappointment. Would I dock the book a star for it? Initially I would have said yes, because this book was more of a grind for me to get to. But when I finished it, and I did read the whole thing, every word, when I finished it, I was a little bit more forgiving of this issue, because I do see how he was developing his characters. They do have a full storyline. And I get that he started the story with Starks, and so he continues. The Starks are the main character throughout the series, presumably. So I can understand that. He wants to have it limited mainly through this main storyline about the Lannisters versus the Starks. The South against the North, basically. That is what Martin is doing. But personally, as a reader, I wish we could have seen more perspectives, other clans, other families, especially Stannis. And I love Stannis, especially in the movie. I love the actor who plays him. But I will say also, in the positive side, is I really like Martin's depth he has for his characters. So for Ned Stark, I think his main failing was honor. Ned Stark wanted to do the right thing, and that was ultimately his downfall. Stannis, I think his sin, if you will, is pride. He is so proud, he doesn't really think about the bigger picture so much. He is more just into himself, just his own narrow-minded quest. He listens to the wrong people. Everyone he should get advice from, like Davos, he just doesn't really listen to, so he is bad at picking advisors. And again, I think his main flaw is his pride. Joffrey, the king, his flaw is obviously probably cruelty in some way, or wrath maybe. So I like that each character feels unique. I think Martin is overall a brilliant writer, and I think the series is overall a masterpiece. I've only read the first 2 books, but I still think his work must be a masterpiece. I mean, this is a magnum opus, like a lifetime achievement, your life's biggest work. I think this is a tremendous series for that. And I really appreciate the work Martin puts into this with his characters, his storytelling, his world building, his writing itself. I think overall, Martin is a really good writer, a really good storyteller. He's good at characterization. All of that is really good. So, all in all, because of it, I have to give the book 5 stars. It's not quite up to the masterpiece that I think Game of Thrones is. In this book, it was more of a grind. There were some more issues I had with it, but when I finished, all in all, I think I have to give George R.R. Martin major props for his work with the series. Now, when am I going to start book 3? I don't really know, because these books are very long. I nearly read Game of Thrones and Clash of Kings almost back to back. So this is like 2,000 words straight where I've been in Westeros in the Game of Thrones series. And I'm kind of tired of it. If I see another italics, it may just drive me mad and it may want me to give up on the series. So I think I'm going to take a little break from the series. I don't know, maybe for the rest of the year. So that way when I go into book 3, it'll be fresh for me and I think I can tolerate it a bit more. Because also right now, I'm just tired of Arya and Sansa and Bran and Jon Snow and Catelyn. I'm kind of tired of the Starks. So I think I need about a year off for this series. So, do I recommend it? Yes. I recommend the whole series and I do recommend this book. So, yes, it is recommended. I do still give it 5 stars. I think it's a fabulous work he has done. I really appreciate that as a writer. I think he does a great job. So, well done, George R. R. Martin. Please don't use italics so much. And that goes for other writers as well. They are hard on the eyes and they're very distracting. So, keep italics to a minimum. Okay, so the plot of this book. Now, it's difficult to try to summarize a 969-page book in just a few words. But this book loosely follows the second season of Game of Thrones, Birds, if you've seen the second season. So let's see, there is Jaime Lannister, who is the brother of Cersei, the queen, kind of, or the queen regent, or whatever you want to say, the Joffrey's mother. So Jaime is in captivity of Robb Stark, basically, and Catelyn, or Catelyn, I need to see how to pronounce her name, I think it's Catelyn. She has some scenes with him. Bran Stark is in Winterfell. He is kind of the presiding lord of Winterfell. Theon, who was the sort of ward of Ned Stark, who went to the Iron Islands to solicit basically his father's support to try to get these pirates to help the North. He sets his eyes on Winterfell because he wants to take over there because he is very bitter towards Ned Stark for basically stealing him from his father for most of his life. So he marches on Winterfell. Tyrion Lannister, who is the dwarf, who is the brother of Jaime and Cersei, and I guess he's the uncle of Joffrey. He is Hand of the King, and he is trying to get the city in order. He's trying to manage Joffrey's cruelty and prepare for this upcoming siege by Stannis. Stannis, you don't have any perspective from him, but like I said, he is trying to take the throne. Davos is his number 2 guy. He is known as the Onion Knight. You only get a couple chapters from him. And he is basically trying to get Stannis to do the right thing, the thing he thinks he should do, but he is very loyal to Stannis. He's going to do what Stannis commands. Sansa, the daughter of Ned Stark, who is killed. Sansa is still a prisoner in King's Landing, and she is betrothed to marry Joffrey, who she hates, and so she's basically a captive, held for ransom in case the Starks kill Jaime. So you see a lot of chapters with her as well as Tyrion, because Tyrion is George R. R. Martin's favorite character. And the other main character you see a lot is Arya, who is the sister of Sansa. And she was taken north a bit, not to the north, but she's taking northwards by basically this guy who works for the Night Watch at the north, the Wall. He works for the Night Watch. He knows who she is, and he's trying to get her to the north, I think. But that doesn't really work out. The other character I forgot to mention is Jon Snow, who is the, I don't want to say the word, but he is the son of Ned Stark, not of Catelyn. And he is north at the Wall because he's a part of the Night Watch. and he is actually marching north because they're trying to figure out what's going on in the north and where some of the Night Watch is, because some of the troops have gone missing. And finally, there's Daenerys, who is part of the family of the old deposed king. She is in a continent far to the east, trying to raise an army to return to Westeros and claim her throne. So she has a few dragons that were hatched, and so they are growing up, and she is trying to find a place. She's basically wandering through the desert, and so she finds this city that takes her in, but the main guy she meets in that city wants her dragons for himself. Now, I don't know if this is actually in the next book or not, but something I remember from the series, the rich guy that Daenerys is kind of taken in by, you find out later in the season that he really is not wealthy at all. He is basically a fraud. I think maybe all the people in this city are not as rich as they seem. They are all really frauds. So he had no money in the first place. I don't remember reading that in this book, so I don't know if that's just something they kind of added or if that comes in the next book. I don't know, but I didn't get that in this book. So I think that is about it for the plot. I may be forgetting one character, and you'll have to forgive me if I do, because there are a lot of characters in this series. So if you've seen the series before and you're like, Clash of Kings, what happens in that book? That's basically what it is. Season 2 of Game of Thrones. The main thing is Stannis marching on King's Landing, and yeah. Anyway, that is it. I will also say that if you try reading a Game of Thrones and you are overwhelmed by it, I would recommend watching the series first, because then you could get an idea of who the main characters are and how they fit in. That personally worked for me, but it's up to you. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!